before starting with hierarchy and hierarch succession in detail, let us take an overview of the characteristics that a biotic succession has as an event. So, we are going to see the changes that occur when biotic succession takes place. So, what are the various changes that we have to study? The first change that we have during a biotic succession is that unstable pioneer species or unstable communities, I am going to refer biotic communities with this particular acronym, if you can use short form, unstable biotic communities to stable, highly stable biotic communities. Okay? This is first change. You have unstable biotic communities, they are soon to be replaced by stable, gradually, step by step. The second thing is that there is large amount of increase in biomass. Third thing is, because there is this succession is primarily studied in terms of vegetation, we have the small sized plants gradually being replaced by large sized plants, or you can rephrase my statement that the small sized plants change to large sized plants as the serial stages pass on. Okay? Then the fourth one is that from simple food webs there is a transition to complex food webs. From extreme xeric or hydric conditions, there is a transition to mesic or intermediate conditions. So, these are the changes which take place when a biotic succession is undergoing. Okay? This is what you have to learn. So, unstable biotic communities are being replaced by stable biotic communities over time. There is huge increase in biomass. Also, when we study there is increase in biomass, please keep in mind that lots and lots of humus or humification of soil is being, humus is added to the soil and humification is being undertaken. So, the soil becomes rich in humus as well. This is about the changes. And before we pile up with the topic, we have one more term that you have to learn about succession, and then you can come to its actual event that unfolds with time. We have two new terms that are to be learnt apart from the changes that we discussed right now. There are two types of succession depending on the type of land, they are land or the environmental condition that succession takes place in. We have primary succession and the second one is secondary succession. You can get an idea what it could be from the name itself. If the succession is taking place in a given region for the first time, very first time, that is known as primary succession. But supposedly the given region was denudated or it was deforested, or due to some reasons the biotic communities were washed away from that zone, the succession that takes place in this sort of region is known as secondary succession. Now, I would give you an example. Supposedly, the succession has to take place on a rock which has been formed by solidified lava, freshly solidified lava. That would be primary succession because that place has never seen any trace of biotic community ever. Alright, that would be primary succession. And in case of secondary succession, suppose you had a concrete field, a large area where you had concrete belt. Now you are removing that concrete, and over there the succession has to take place. That means biotic communities have to establish themselves over there. Then that condition is known as secondary succession. Alright, overgrazing has led to total removal of biotic communities at some place. When the biotic communities would establish themselves one by one at that given area, that would be secondary succession. Now, the main difference between these two is what they are, that makes them different. Apart from that, there are a few points of differences, that primary succession, because it has to take place for the first time, it takes a much longer time. How much longer? It could be millions of years or at least more than 1000 years. In case of secondary succession, 200 to 500 years are enough almost. Okay, so it takes a lesser time as compared to primary succession. Apart from this, the pioneer communities are highly unstable. They would be very simple. Over here, the pioneer community would be complex, not as simple as in the case of primary, and they would be comparatively stable, comparatively, not stable in terms of several stages, but comparatively stable to the pioneer community of primary succession. Also, the soil will have no humus in the beginning when there is primary succession taking place, but over here there could be remnants of humus, small amount. Okay, so you can see that there are certain conditions which are present in the region that has to undergo secondary succession, which enables the serial stages to to move or transit to a better stage at a faster rate. So the transition of serial stages is quite quicker as compared to in the case of primary succession, because all is to be dependent on the vegetative phases that the succession is having, as there was nothing in the beginning. Over here some traces could be present. The pioneer community could be advanced as compared to the pioneer community which comes over here. Now, what would be the pioneer community? What would be the serial stages? That we will cover in next lessons, and then I can say that you will have a better idea of what all has been studied till now.